Hello, you all. Welcome to my channel. If you are a returning subscriber, what's good? If you are new, hey boo, I am back with another video. And so we are just gonna hop straight into the video, and y'all see the title. This is basically a follow-up video of my testimony. For the ones that's listening in, you are going through some things right now. You have been faced with your childhood demons and you are dealing with some trauma. You may be either going to therapy or you have considered getting therapy. I'm just gonna share with you what I learned in therapy about childhood trauma that I feel like would be helpful to you if you were thinking about getting some therapy. And see, the reason why I wanted to make this an important topic on my channel is when it comes to getting therapy, when it comes to getting any sort of professional help, that type of thing is frowned upon, especially in the Black community. This is something that I want to make important on my channel. Anything that's going to help you heal, anything that's going to help push and grow your life on your spiritual journey. If you are considering any sort of therapy, please know that there's nothing wrong with getting any sort of professional help. Now, y'all know I'm a firm believer in the Lord. Okay, I will always go to the Lord. He will always be my first source for my healing. But there's also nothing wrong with getting professional help. Okay, there are tons of people out here that are licensed to help you. They have different methods, basically help you get a better understanding of the situation, of your emotions, how you can maneuver throughout your healing journey. And so this is basically my takeaway of what I got in therapy, is that my therapist suggests this. And let me just say this, for the ones that's coming up on my channel, this is why I say I know my channel is not going to be for everybody, because if you coming on here and you like, oh, you oversharing, you telling too much of your business, don't nobody need to know all that. Listen, this is not going to be the channel for you. This is a spirituality channel. I talk about spirituality in so many different forms. Healing journey is a part of your spirituality. There's tons of people that they need to confront their childhood trauma and childhood demons on their path in their healing journey. So if you feel like this is an oversharing, it's too much for you, like I said, this channel is not going to be for everyone, and that's fine. Okay, you can find another channel that you feel like is going to help you. But for the ones that's listening in on my channel, this message is for you. And basically what I learned in therapy about childhood trauma. So basically she came up with a method of how to deal with your childhood triggers. And so that can be something like you hear something, you see something, you smell something that kind of trigger your childhood trauma. And she basically suggested doing something it's called grounding. Okay, and for the ones that's up on my channel that they are going through therapy, your therapist might have suggested this same method too. And I feel like it's really helpful, and I want to come share with y'all. And whenever these triggers present themselves and you find yourself going back to your child self and you are reliving all these memories over again, the way that you are going to be able to deal with that in a healthy way, being present in the moment. As these certain things are taking place, these triggers, you can say some certain things to yourself like, this doesn't belong to me. This has nothing to do with me. Let me do something to kind of take my mind off of what's going on right now. Okay. So for instance, you could probably hear a child crying and you feel like something is being done to this child, and you can see something that may trigger something that happened to you. What you can probably do is kind of like tone out whatever is going on. You can listen to some music or put your earbuds in so you can drown out the noises. Or you can do something that's going to calm and relax your nerves, because you know how when you get triggered by certain things, you be at a 10 level, like your nerves be real bad. I don't know about y'all, but when my childhood triggers show up, sometimes my nerves would get really bad. And so she said the one thing you can do to kind of calm your nerves is to do something that's relaxing, like maybe go take a bath, or my favorite thing I like to do is I like to drink tea. I think tea is very therapeutic. Maybe take you a tea bath, read you a book while you are listening to some music, anything that's going to take your mind off of what is happening in the present moment. Now, say for instance, this certain trigger just showed up, you out and about, you may not have time to really just go home. If that is a situation to where you are out in public somewhere, this childhood trigger has showed up, then I really don't feel like it's anything wrong with removing yourself from the environment and situation. Maybe you need to go home, maybe you need to go take a breather, anything to remove yourself from this, anything that's going to take your mind off of what happened to you when you was a child. That's what's going to help you a lot with your healing. It's a lot of healthy ways that you can combat your childhood trauma and your triggers because like I said before, this is something that happened to you. These memories are always going to be with you, but you want to be able to deal with this in a healthy way, so where it's not affecting your life in a negative way. Grounding is really helpful. Shout out to my therapist, but when she told me about this, I'm like, man, I never heard of nothing like this. And this is why I say therapy is important. And for the ones that's listening in, if you grew up in a black family, I'm just gonna be honest, you might have been told that, oh, you don't need no therapy. Oh, a lot of us say, and this used to be my mindset too, I used to then think that therapy was helpful. I used to think that the Lord was my therapist, in which he is, but there's so many different methods and ways that can help you on your healing journey, especially dealing with something like this, like childhood trauma. You have some people out here that are licensed to help you. They have so many different ways to help you maneuver throughout your life, okay, so that this childhood trauma is not affecting you in a way to where you are functioning normally, okay? And so I really do suggest that anyone that has been through anything like this, that you get some therapy. It is really going to be helpful to you. Another thing my therapist pointed out to me is that a lot of us are not just dealing with, say, childhood trauma. We are dealing with other kind of childhood trauma. That can be bullying. Some of y'all have been through bullying in y'all childhood. That is something that you can get therapy for. Don't even necessarily have to be anything dealing with your childhood. It can be something that you are currently going through, okay? It is nothing wrong with getting professional help. And I'm going to keep saying it, okay, especially for my peoples, because we have been conditioned to believe that something is wrong with us when we want to go get help or therapy. Y'all already know, therapy, getting help, that's frowned upon in the black community. You are looked at as being crazy when it's quote unquote something wrong with you. You know that certain things are taking place in your life, certain things that are affecting you. It's not normal for you to maneuver and operate through your life the way that you were. Once you start to get therapy, you have a better understanding. You have better management of your emotions, and you are able to function better. Going to therapy is just like getting another person's opinion on the matter in the situation. A lot of us don't realize how serious the trauma is until we go to therapy. You know what I'm saying? Because when you deal with certain things like this, I'm going to make a separate video about how child SA molestation is swept up under the rug, especially in the black community. We are conditioned to believe that what happened to us wasn't a big deal. When it comes to these sort of topics, we got this whole generation of toxicity and dysfunction when it comes to getting healing. You need to get over it, you need to move past it, that kind of attitude about it, when really we need to be talking about healthy ways on how to deal with these sort of traumas. It is nothing wrong with you getting therapy. We have always been conditioned to believe that, oh, this person crazy, it's something wrong with them. The first thing we want to say to insult somebody is, are you crazy? You need to go get you some help, or something like, you know, stuff like that, when really that's not anything to be ashamed of. It's nothing wrong with getting therapy and getting help. I used to think something was wrong with me. I used to get counseling way back then when I was a child, you know, because like I said before to y'all, I grew up in an extremely dysfunctional family. And so I was getting counseling when I was a child. And I remember vividly that whenever my counselor would come visit me at school, I used to be embarrassed. I was already being picked on in school for being shy. I mean, she was an older white nun. And so when she would come up to my school, I went to a predominantly black school. That just drew more attention to myself. I didn't want nobody thinking it was nothing wrong with me because I was getting counseling. Like, that was just another way for people to pick on me and bully me. So whenever she would come to get me for my sessions, I'd be kind of ducking off from the class. So I didn't want nobody to know. I was just thinking back on it like, dang, that's the conditioning of our minds. We are being told that it's something wrong with you if you get therapy. Like, you crazy, when really it's nothing wrong with you getting therapy. You are going to notice that you are better off. You are going to live life with ease when you start to get therapy. It's not as bad as people make it seem. And this is literally coming from a person that used to think that therapy would not help me. Okay, it's just like you admit to yourself, oh, ain't nothing wrong with me. What I need to go to therapy for? I'm perfectly sane. I'm normal. You in denial about the fact that you need help. Professional help, that is. It's something going on with you mentally, to where you need to sit down with a therapist. You need to sit down with a professional to help you through that. Nobody is saying that you are crazy and out of your mind because of what you've been through. Certain things that you've been through, it was beyond your control, especially if you were a child. This isn't my suggestion. Don't put yourself in a situation to where you are faulting yourself. Okay, this is where we start to place blame on ourselves. We feel like certain things that happened to us was our fault somehow, when it happened to you. Okay, you had no control over that situation. And so it's nothing wrong with going to go get help to heal yourself. I strongly feel like therapy is a huge part of your spiritual growth on your healing journey. Spiritual growth is healing as well. Okay, and that's another thing I wanted to bring to y'all on my channel. It's nothing wrong with that. I wanted to come talk about that with y'all. And this is another thing too, why I would suggest getting therapy, and why it's not really as bad as people make it seem. Because really, when I first started my therapy sessions, I was real hesitant. For the ones that's really going through it, you might have thought about therapy over years, but you never went through with it. You never actually tried to go get any help, because you sit up thinking there ain't nothing wrong with you. And see, this is another thing I had to come to the realization myself. Having mental health issues, mental problems don't necessarily have to be anything extreme. Like, a person may battle with schizophrenia. More severe kind of mental health issues, we automatically assume that, oh, I don't have these sort of severe mental issues like this other person, so it's nothing wrong with me. I'm functioning normally as an adult, so I don't need no therapy. No, you do need therapy if you are dealing with these kind of issues. Dealing with certain things like childhood trauma, SA. You might have had a lot of losses in your family. You need therapy behind it. When you lose a loved one, you need therapy behind that as well. And that's another thing I kind of wanted to shed light on too. When I first started on my channel, I came on here talking about how to deal with the loss of a loved one. And I feel like that's something that I want to kind of bring back to the forefront, because there's people that are losing loved ones every day. And just me speaking on myself, I had lost so many different loved ones to the point to where I had become numb with death. I'm still kind of like that today. But it's nothing wrong with getting therapy behind losing a loved one. If you have lost a lot of people in your life and you haven't got any sort of professional help behind that, it's nothing wrong with getting professional help. Yes, the Lord is our Savior. Yes, the Lord is our first source. Most definitely. But getting professional help, the key factor in your spiritual growth. Okay, your mental health is everything. I'm always going to be the one to come and promote mental health. A healthy man is the best self-love you can give yourself, in my opinion. Maybe battling with the whole thing of, okay, well, I don't really need no therapy because I talk to the Lord about everything and I feel like I'm fine. But anytime you come upon a situation, you're not fine. And this is another thing too I wanted to come and tell y'all. It's okay to admit to yourself that you are not okay. Because we always want to be strong, right? We always want to lead on that we gonna get through it, okay? We strong, we got this. It ain't nothing. When really you are hurting inside. It's bothering you. It's taking effect on your mental state. You feel like you okay, but everybody else on the outside, they see something completely different. And because you are bottling certain things up and you are numbing yourself, you're not dealing with the issue at hand. You're not getting that professional help. It's starting to take effect in your life, your personal relationships with people and things like that. And so when you really start to realize that, okay, I need help. I'm not crazy for wanting to go get no help. I'm going to let my healthcare provider know that I would like to get some therapy. I want to help myself in the best way I can. That's the best self-love that you can give yourself. Anything internal. A lot of y'all may not be aware of why you have poor physical health. Y'all having certain symptoms. If you have been dealing with some sort of pent up childhood trauma, things that you have been bottling up and you haven't addressed it, you haven't went and got any sort of help, you may start to notice you are having certain symptoms behind it. A lot of us experience certain symptoms behind trauma and you don't know what's wrong with you. You want to your doctor and you telling them that you having certain issues with this and that. Your doctor suggests that you may need to get some therapy because there's something going on with you. They may ask you certain questions like, okay, what's going on? How's the stress levels in your life? What's going on? A lot of y'all may have a stressful marriage. A provider may ask you about that. Your home life. Work can be a contributing factor to your mental health. why you are having these certain symptoms to where it's affecting your physical health. When you don't take care of your mental state, it's going to start to play out in your physical health as well. So if you are having certain symptoms and you're trying to figure out where is it coming from, you feel like you are fine, your body is responding to what's taking place mentally. And so if you don't get help for that, it's going to start to break you down little by little. We want to be taking care of ourselves and loving ourselves internally. Anything on the outside, it's not going to count for what's going on the inside. You cannot cover things up. People are going to be able to see that she got some healing to do. She needs some help. Some of y'all may get offended by a person saying you need some help. You know the difference between somebody saying it because they're trying to be offensive, they are trying to insult you, and the difference between a person telling you this for your own best interest. They want to see you operate as a better version of yourself. You got people out here that are concerned about you. They care about you. They love you. And you may need to get some therapy. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's another thing I learned about in therapy when it came to me addressing my childhood trauma. This is why a lot of y'all are walking around with secrets and you are keeping it bottled up inside. You're not realizing that it's hurting you internally. It's killing you on the inside. This is something that you need to address. You need to sit down and talk to someone about this. If you do not have family that you can go to, because your family are the ones that have been victimizing you, it's nothing wrong with getting therapy. Therapy is a part of self-love. Okay, your mental state is self-love. I know we talk about the spirit a lot on this channel, but your mental health, your emotional health, physical health, and spiritual health, all of those are congruent. One cannot function without the other. Okay, so please understand that when I come and talk about spirituality, I'm talking about everything internally, okay? Externally as well, because your spirit is all connected. It's all one. We want them all to be in harmony with each other. That's the only way you are going to be able to experience this spiritual growth in its entirety. A healthy man means everything to me. And I want it to mean everything to y'all on my channel. Okay? So if you ever grew up being told that, oh, you don't need no therapy, ain't nothing wrong with you, all you got to do is go pray to the Lord and He going to make you better. I'm here to break that cycle of that old saying that we used to hear back in the day that the Lord is my therapist. He is my one and only. And let me just say this, okay? Don't get triggered because I'm suggesting therapy. Yes, the Lord is my one and only source for my healing. But sometimes the Lord will lead you to get therapy. This is coming from a person that always used to say it. I was against therapy, but now I'm coming to tell you that it's nothing wrong with getting therapy. Okay, and so get a different perspective on how other people think. This is how you build healthy connections with people. You are going to notice that it's going to be a certain change in your life when you start to get therapy. You're going to have a different view and perspective on things. You don't have to tell nobody that you get therapy. This is something that you can keep to yourself. But you don't want to get to a certain point to where you are so broken to the point where it may become something severe. This is where people tend to turn to substances, drugs, alcohol, sex, all different types of addictions to try to block out whatever is going on. Are you trying to numb everything with these substances and not realizing that it's not helping you heal, it's hurting you even further. Okay, this is why a lot of people are battling with a severe mental illness, is because it can be certain things that they might have been bottling up and they never addressed it. They never got the help that they needed. And it really started to wear on their mental state in a way to where they really need to get some intensive kind of help. And I mean like going to the psych ward or taking medications. You know, some of y'all may take medications for y'all depression, y'all anxiety. Some of y'all may battle with PTSD because of what you endured in your childhood. And so going to therapy is going to help a lot with that. And that's just how I'm going to end the video. Try grounding. You can look it up. I think that's a therapy term that they use, grounding. But it really does help a lot. It has helped me. And so hopefully I got something from this video. Hopefully it helped you in some way. Go get some therapy, okay? And I will talk to y'all in my next video.